When watching this year's Barbie movie, I was shocked by how many parallels it had with Season 5's Lisa vs Malibu Stacy. On the surface, they were both fun, bright, and a bit silly, but they both share a deeper story that still feels very relevant today, despite being 3 decades apart.
Don't ask me, I'm just a girl.
Well, I thought it'd be interesting to look into the real story of how and why this strangely thought-provoking episode got made, as well as how after all the things the Simpsons writers got right with it, Fox still failed it. So, the episode mainly focuses on the release of Talking Malibu Stacy, which was a doll inspired by Mattel's 1992 Teen Talk Barbie.
Each Teen Talk Barbie doll says 4 different fun things. Barbie dolls each sold separately.
Each doll was programmed to say 4 out of 270 possible catchphrases, but it just so happened that math class is tough was one of them.
Math class is tough.
The phrase disappointed parents, educators, and generally women who had worked hard to reverse the bias that women don't really work in the maths and the sciences.
There's no question that there is a stereotype that exists for young girls, which is that math is hard, I can't do math, or science is hard, I can't do science, or it's not meant for me.
They felt undermined by an outdated stereotype, and it might seem dramatic, but Barbie was a mass-produced, mass-exposed toy to young and developing girls. And to a lot of them, Barbie was their idol.
Listen, do you have a crush on anyone?
We feel this anger when Lisa pulls Stacy's string expecting her new doll to have contemporary ideas, but instead,
Let's bake some cookies for the boys.
so she runs to her friends to complain, but it turns out that they don't see anything wrong. Well, except for this girl.
My spidey sense is tingling. Anybody call for a web slinger?
Fun fact, this is actually a real thing that happened in real life. At the time of Teen Talk Barbie, a group who called themselves the Barbie Liberation Organization formed to protest against the math-hating doll. And to do this, they swapped her voice box with the likes of G.I. Joe's Talking Duke.
No escape for the guilty. Vengeance is mine.
They'd buy tons of these toys, swap their voice boxes, and put them back onto the shelves for kids to buy. And I even unearthed this really trippy video that they made about it.
They build us in a way that perpetuates gender-based stereotypes.
The writers of this episode, Josh Weinstein and Bill Oakley, were fully aware of the story. More so Bill Oakley, whose wife was an avid Barbie collector. And in an interview with Vanity Fair, he also mentions that he went to tons of Barbie conventions with her. It was at these conventions where he'd meet the biggest Barbie collectors at the time. And personally, toy collectors, they fascinate me. They're a whole different breed. My friend Warren has perhaps the craziest Simpsons collection I know. In fact, the merchandise fascinates me so much that I'm actually releasing a brand new book with Warren as well as my husband James. It's called Collecting the Simpsons, the merchandise and legacy of our favourite nuclear family. It's taking over 2 years to make, and it indulges in 90s Simpsons nostalgia as well as designs in full colour photographs and the weird history of the toys, the clothing, the comics, and the video games, and everything else really. It's gonna be a huge book. I will be announcing it properly very soon with the official cover, but for now, let's get back to Barbie. So, it was Bill's meeting with this Barbie collector who inspired this part of Smithers. And it's a part that I genuinely, really personally love. He's not only knowledgeable in the history of Malibu Stacy, but also genuinely helps Lisa to help her locate the creator. So after failing to get through to the executives at Malibu Stacy HQ, Lisa decides to head to the source. So, with Smithers' help, she locates Stacy Lovell, i.e. the creator of Malibu Stacy. Stacy Lovell was voiced by Kathleen Turner, who, fun fact, also voiced Jessica Rabbit. And she is perhaps my favourite thing in this entire episode. That smoky voice, that sass. She's awesome.
You all have hideous hair. I mean, from a design point of view.
Stacy Lovell was just the perfect counterweight to Lisa Simpson's sunny idealism, and it made their back and forths just so entertaining. In an interview, Turner said she was attracted to the role because of Lovell's skepticism and her cynicism. She found that the idea of her being converted and compelled by Lisa deliciously funny and sad. This is because Lovell was thrown out of said company, which was her own company, by said executives.
I was funneling profits to the Viet Cong.
This mirrors how the real-life creator of Barbie, Ruth Handler, was forced to resign from her company in Mattel. This is because her and her husband were accused of issuing financial statements that were deliberately false and misleading. But instead of simply parodying Ruth Handler, I think that Stacy Lovell is also really Malibu Stacy or Barbie but all grown up. She lives in a Barbie dream house, was polished, blonde and pretty, and was even married to Ken, as well as some other toy boys.
Just come for a ride with me and my mobile command unit.
Joe, I told you, it's over.
But she also seemed deeply unhappy, an alcoholic with 5 divorces under her belt, which added a comment that even though Malibu Stacy or Barbie's life may seem perfect, it could still end in sadness. Side note, I love when G.I. Joe charges in, he's even got a little line under his neck so he looks like a real action figure. Genius! So together, Lovell and Lisa create Lisa Lionheart, with a voice and words that they can both be proud of.
Trust in yourself and you can achieve anything.
But back at Malibu Stacy HQ, they felt threatened by Lisa Lionheart, so they entrusted the help of the President of the United States to help get rid of her.
Dad, did you hear something?
Oh.
In real life, to deal with the controversy of Teen Talk Barbie, Mattel simply removed the math classes tough phrase from circulation, then offering to exchange the math-hating dolls with brand new ones for children that had bought the original one. This lazy way of reconciliation links into how Malibu Stacy HQ would then decide how to get ahead, by giving Malibu Stacy a brand new hat.
She still embodies all the awful stereotypes she did before.
But she's got a new hat.
And even though it was incredibly lazy, it still managed to divert the attention of Lisa Lionheart stands everywhere, therefore emphasizing the inescapable clutch of commercialism. However, there is a slightly heartwarming end with just one little girl falling in love with Lisa Lionheart. This makes Lisa believe that if her message gets through to her, it'll all be worth it.
Particularly if that little girl happens to pay $46,000 for that doll.
What?
Oh, nothing.
So, a pretty compelling episode, right? One that obviously has a message for young girls, or at least is commenting on the backwards ideals of Barbie. Well, in my view, yes, definitely. Josh and Bill wrote and produced, in my opinion, one of the most political and important episodes in Simpsons history. Their motivations seem even more pointed when I started looking at old scripts with deleted scenes. In one, Lisa was introduced to astronaut wife Stacy, and no, she's not the one up in space doing the whole one step for mankind thing. She's at home, on the sofa, on the phone to Ken, who's actually the one in space. This shows that there was a real effort to emphasize gender inequality, but maybe it was deleted because it was deemed far too political. I mean, Ken ends the scene by saying, "Keep the home fires burning, Stacy." Therefore, full on saying that in the corporate ideal, the woman's place is definitely in the home.
I'm a white male, age 18 to 49. Everyone listens to me.
Which is why, back in real life, Josh and Bill were really angry in the way that Fox promoted the episode. Back then in the 90s, the main way that new Simpsons episodes were advertised was through these graphic kind of ads in the TV guide. But Lisa vs. Malibu Stacy, a Lisa-centric episode where she talks about sexism, had this. Bart is lifting up a doll's dress, all in the name of research, man, all while the doll is claimed to be sexy. Now, not only is it wrong that the doll, which is actually a little girl's toy, is being claimed to be sexy, is totally weird and wrong, but having Bart as the one in the ad just undermines what Lisa's character was trying to say, and her importance in it. The writers were also unhappy that the ad featured Bart rather than Lisa. I mean, there's a joke even in the episode about Bart's lack of attention.
Hello? Pay attention to me. Look at me. I'm Bart. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me.
The TV guide ad for this episode is so unbelievably wrong-headed. Bill told Vanity Fair, "We didn't have any control over the Fox network and what ads they did." Josh was equally angry and even had a theory about the weird ad messaging. "We're pretty sure that someone said to the promo person, it's a sexist new doll, and they heard sexy new doll. Or it's a horrible, gross perversion of what the show is. It's literally the opposite message that we were trying to get across." It's just all really ironic that even an episode with an important progressive message is once again covered up by a big corporation. Whether it's Mattel telling girls that math is tough, Malibu Stacy hiding the intelligent Lisa Lionheart, or Fox completely ignoring the discussion of gender inequality. It's all very strange, and it's all very sad. Fox could have just made a mistake, or it could just be that they think that sex sells. Maybe they simply felt that viewers would be turned off by this kind of episode. But who really knows? But what I do know is that it's been a real pleasure revisiting this episode. It's a real thoughtful one, and it really made me happy to read that Bill wrote it with the intention of his future daughters watching it. I remember a few years back interviewing him and letting him know how much this episode meant to me, so it was so awesome learning a bit more about his real inspirations behind it. But do you know what is empowering? That a movie which heavily embeds a similar message is actually being celebrated and proudly advertised now. It's now been reported that Barbie has exceeded opening weekend expectations, snaring $162 million over its first 3 days, therefore making it the highest grossing opening for a female director in the history of cinema. It's a film that joins the juggernaut of male-driven superhero movies, therefore it just goes to show that maybe, just maybe, if you
Trust in yourself and you can achieve anything.
Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe for more Simpsons history dive-ins, and I'll see you later.